Seth Meyers. This is Late Night. We hope we're doing well. And now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. When asked yesterday if border czar Tom Homan should arrest California Governor Gavin Newsom, President Trump said he would do it and added, quote, "I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent." Ah, yes, the old compliment, searing insult. Imagine Trump giving a eulogy. "Super guy will be greatly missed. World's tiniest penis." In a new interview, President Trump said that Elon Musk has been disrespectful to the office of the president, and if the guy selling these thinks that's bad, he has no respect for the office, and I'm putting the White House on Airbnb. President Trump is set to attend the opening night of Les Miserables this week at the Kennedy Center. It's the story of a convicted criminal who struggles to find redemption by going to see Les Miserables at the Kennedy Center. That's right, President Trump will attend a production of Les Miserables. Also, Les Miserables is French for how Trump will feel while sitting through it. The fast food chain Chipotle is set next week to launch a new adobo ranch dip, and then about 4 hours later, you'll launch it. The New York Times recently published a profile on people who search in dumpsters for luxury items discarded by college students at the end of the school year. But unfortunately, all you can find in the UMass dumpsters is the diploma. Here's the thing. I don't like these jokes. We have Mike Scollins as a writer on the show. He's our resident masshole, and for some reason, he just turns against his own state constantly. Disney World announced last week it'll be closing the Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island, and the Liberty Square riverboat attractions. "Oh no," said your lamest kid. Also Scollins. A DoorDash delivery driver in Washington State was arrested recently after he allegedly returned to a customer's house with a gun and demanded a cash tip. Even worse, he asked if he could use the bathroom. Authorities in Virginia recently arrested 3 people who allegedly stole more than $30,000 worth of candles from several Bath and Body Works stores. Wait, it took 3 people to steal 7 candles? And finally, today was National Call Your Doctor Day because maybe they just forgot you were in there. And that was a monologue, everybody. We're off and running. Got a great show for you tonight. He's an Emmy-nominated actor you know from Community, The Soup, and The Bear. Currently, he's hosting the 1% Club, which airs Tuesday nights on Fox. Our friend Joel McHale is back on the show, everybody. You know her from The Last of Us, Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, and Suncoast. She's starring in How to Train Your Dragon, which is in theaters this weekend. Nico Parker is back on the show. So excited to talk to her. And she's a very funny comedian whose stand-up special, Father, premieres Friday on Hulu. Atsuko Okatsuka will be joining us. Check out Family Trips. We got Nick Kroll for you. We got Jeffrey Dean Morgan for you. A fantastic guest, good listens. Do check it out. Moving on. You know me. I'm a man of the people. I try to stay in touch with what the kids are into. I'm plugged in. New TikTok dance, I've seen it. Fun scarf, I'm wearing it. But lately, I've been seeing something, well, it makes me feel a little out of touch. It's a quirky little new trend called setting Teslas on fire. And it got me to thinking, you know, I'm getting older. And sometimes I look around and I don't even recognize the world I'm living in. Things are changing and not always for the better. And times like these, I like to take a moment to talk about how things were just a bit more simple back in my day. Back in my day, people weren't out there setting fire to Teslas. Are you trucking with me? Back in my day, we had patience. If you wanted to see a Tesla in flames, you just waited. Eventually, nature would take its course and they'd blow up on their own. I swear to Christ, those things light up like a Duraflame log on wheels. If there was one guarantee about getting out of a Tesla, it's that you burnt. Oh, good catch, Rusty. That is from a different segment. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention. Back in my day, Southwest Airlines flights weren't being grounded after some lady passenger stripped naked and pooped in her chair. Yeah, that's right, it really happened. Back in my day, people only stripped naked on Spirit Airlines because wearing clothes cost an extra $45. And if you had an extra $45, well, you sure as hell wouldn't be caught dead flying Spirit. And they only pooped in their chair because on Spirit, the seat you're sitting in is the closest thing they have to a working toilet. Back in my day, nobody was worried about the international students getting into Harvard. We were worried about the American students getting out of Harvard. Now, we take a look at these alumni: Steve Bannon, Henry Kissinger, Mark Zuckerberg, and the Unabomber. Tell me that's not the worst blunt rotation of all time. Back in my day, I wasn't reading about the Trump administration paying people to have babies. No, sir. Back in my day, people had babies for the right reasons, like not wanting to wear a condom and thinking, what are the odds? Just this once. Then 9 months later, boom, baby. Then you try to get away with it 2 more times. Before you know it, boom, family of 5. Let me just say, I love you guys very much. Now go to bed. Back in my day, people weren't obsessed with rescuing dogs. It was the dogs who were rescuing us. Little Timmy got stuck in a well. That's not my problem. Send Lassie. What's that, Rusty? You knew Lassie personally? And you guys had one wild night in Vegas? And then 9 months later, boom, she had a litter? Tried to get away with one too, didn't you? Back in my day, President Trump wasn't telling Americans that they might have to buy fewer dolls for their children due to his tariffs. Back then, kids could have as many dolls as they wanted. And that's how Barbie and Ken ended up in a polycule with G.I. Joe and Moana. Oh, Rusty, no, nobody talks to Stretch Armstrong anymore. Yeah, it turns out emotional flexibility is what they needed, so they cut him loose. Oh, you're darn right they missed his big old stretchy penis. Oh, come on, all you guys were thinking it too. Back in my day, the shoe company Skechers wasn't going private. Back then, the only thing private about Skechers was how you quietly hoped no one noticed you were wearing them. They came with memory foam, and the memory was humiliation. They weren't shoes, they were just little foot sacks your mom kept reminding you were half the price of Nikes. I once drew a swoosh on mine with a Sharpie just to survive phys ed. Actually, I think we have a picture of those. Yep, the bullies wailed on me pretty hard, and so did the nerds. We brought people together, Rusty. Back in my day, people weren't falling in love with AI chatbots like ChatGPT. No, sir. Back in my day, the only technology we got emotionally attached to was our Roomba. We loved that little guy. Quiet, dependable. Didn't ask how your day was. Didn't try to understand your hopes and dreams. He just ate crumbs and he moved along. And we didn't leave our spouses for him. I mean, sure, maybe we gave him a little pat. Occasional little gentle kiss after a solid lap around the kitchen. But that's where it stopped. I mean, and sure, maybe the way it sucked down a pile of Cheerios in 5 seconds, you know, stirred something inside of us. But you kept it together, you know, you didn't act on it. Not even when the house was empty, you know. And you knew the kids wouldn't be back from soccer practice for at least, you know, another 20 more minutes. And then 3 hours later, boom, $1,200 emergency room bill. Back in my day, RFK Jr. wasn't pulling fluoride out of the water supply. No, back then, RFK Jr.'s doctor was pulling a worm out of his brain. And listen, I get that having a parasite devour your hippocampus is maybe not ideal. I'm just saying things made a lot more sense when the worm was calling the shots. Back in my day, you didn't need a real ID to board a plane in America. Back in my day, you could board a plane with nothing but an acoustic guitar, a broken heart, and a song good enough to keep Drew Barrymore from marrying the wrong guy. I mean, I suppose it wouldn't hurt if Billy Idol was there, you know, just for good luck, and sheesh. I mean, the only thing you had to declare, that growing old with her, would be the greatest honor of your life. Yeah, no, I know, but the wedding singer came out before 9/11, so none of that stuff was a problem. Yeah, you could do whatever you wanted to do at the airport. Oh, actually, good point. Even then, you couldn't poop on a plane. Back in my day, the Scripps National Spelling Bee champion wasn't winning with the word éclaircissement. Back in my day, was that, Rusty? You want me to use éclaircissement in a sentence? All right. The report provided a crucial éclaircissement on the company's financial situation. Origin? French. Definition? Oh, come on. I know you want to, so just spell the damn word, Rusty.
Éclaircissement. Éclaircissement.
Wow. Rusty, that was dead wrong. First of all, bark is not a letter, you dumbass dog. Finally, back in my day, Trump wasn't paying immigrants $1,000 to leave. In fact, he was signing prenups to get them to stay. Well, I'm sorry I had to do that. But sometimes this grumpy old Gus has got to get to griping. This has been Back in My Day. We'll be right back.